Hey guys, Joe here, and welcome to the 6th delivery of the daily sketch series. For today's video, I actually decided to go and look for a nice reference picture that had some cast shadows on it, because I've always enjoyed cast shadows a lot, and I feel like they actually help you give a lot of more volume to the portraits that you're drawing, because you have a lot of more room to play around with, and it just makes it easier to capture that 3D feeling of an object if you have multiple shadows that you can reference from. And yeah, I initially found a different reference picture than the one that you're seeing right now on screen, and it was of a dark-skinned guy, very light dark skin, but still, and it was awesome. Like, it had a lot of nice shadows on the face and very natural. Like, it wasn't a studio photograph, it was more of like someone getting pictured by their friends at a zoo, or stuff like that, where you just have natural lighting but the photo isn't taken by any professional. So I feel like those are the best ones to use for drawing, because it feels more natural to me to draw those kinds of faces instead, like, as opposed to those that have been taken in a studio, like the photographs, because they feel artificial in some way. But yeah, point is that on Pinterest, either on iPad or iPhone, I don't know about the other platforms, but if you're using the app on either one of those two devices, you can actually zoom in by using your two fingers like you would on any normal picture on a touch screen. And yeah, I did that, and you get this nice menu with similar images, like on the bottom row or on the bottom of the picture. And I did that, but the app crashed somehow. That had happened to me already, but I didn't think it would happen again. And the bad thing was that I actually didn't pin the post to any of my boards. I usually, before I start sketching, I either pin the image to my models board, or I would download it in case I run out of internet or something happens, so that I don't lose the image. But this time I didn't think that would happen, and so when the app crashed, I had to shut it down completely. And once I launched it again, I actually had lost the image, and that was very sad, because I really liked the photograph. It was very nice to use for reference, and it was also like, I like to draw different people from different ethnicities, so he was like a mixed kind of boy, and yeah, he had a lot of nice features, and I wanted to capture them all, but sadly I lost the reference image. And it wasn't like a photo that I had searched for. When you are looking for your feed and then you click on an image and then you get similar images to that one, that's how I found it, and I couldn't find like the original image that I had referenced it from, and so I couldn't get back to having that picture show up. And yeah, I had to look for a different one, and this is very stressful, because one of the steps that takes me actually the longest when I'm drawing is to get a nice reference picture. I don't know why, but I'm very picky with what I use to reference, so I don't like to have very studio-like or very blown-out photos where you don't have a lot of shadows, because that forces you to come up with your own shadows, which sometimes can be nice, don't get me wrong. Like, there's a few times in which I have used photos with totally different lighting, and they end up looking very differently, and that's also a nice thing to use when you don't know what to draw, to just take a picture and try out your own shadows. And that's a fun exercise that I find very relaxing. I should do a video in which I'm drawing like that. But yeah, for this one I wasn't planning on doing that, because I actually had to go somewhere, I don't remember where, but I had to leave, and so I was trying my best to do this sketch as quick as possible. But I remembered what happened with the second or third one. The third one was the one that caused me troubles, I believe, in which I actually rushed everything and nothing was coming out right. And yeah, I remember the whole experience, and I decided to just step back and take a deep breath and try to calm down and just take my time in drawing this. And yeah, it luckily worked out very nicely, and in the end it didn't take me long. I feel like this one is one of the quickest portraits that I've done so far. I mean, the sketches that I've done so far. It took me around, let me look at the footage, maybe 30 to 40 minutes, which is really nice. I mean, I should have done this quicker, but I took a few breaks in between. I was actually getting myself ready to leave, so I just drew a little bit and then stopped and did something else, and then I would go back and work it some more, and yeah, that's why I feel like it's longer than it should have been. But yeah, I was in the end very pleased with the result. I was trying to experiment with the shading technique a little bit, and you'll see me do that a little bit more into the video, in which I shaded certain areas and then added a bold line in the edge of a few of the shadows, and that I feel helps create a more stylized portrait as opposed to a very realistic one, because I know a lot of people enjoy realism and hyper-realism, but me personally, I believe that there's not a lot of personality or life in those kinds of drawings, because you're basically just copying a photograph. And even if it's a composition that you made on Photoshop or something like that, I feel like still it's not as unique as if you were to include some extra brush strokes or custom colors, or well, not custom colors, but like colors that don't go or that aren't there when you're looking at the reference photo. And yeah, that I believe that works best than just copying a reference. So that's what I try to do with all my drawings. Even with my sketches, I try to incorporate a bit of my style or something to make them stand out from just an average study or just a photo referencing study. And what I try to do when I use references is just to build up a how can I say it without it sounding weird, like a mental library of different images or different faces that I can use later on for my own projects. And I have noticed that sometimes what manifests in my drawings when it comes to like my visual library is actually noses. I don't often do them as they show up in the reference photos, because I don't know, there is certain features that I enjoy the most, so I try to do those more frequently than others. And yeah, I feel like these exercises of using different ethnicities and different faces actually helps a lot, because a lot of artists suffer from this syndrome or this illness, well, not illness, but this difficulty in which they call the same face issue, or I don't remember how it's called, but yeah, it's like drawing the same face over and over again, and some artists don't like that. I personally don't mind if you're changing like the whole composition and everything. I don't mind if you're using the same face over and over again, but yeah, I feel like it's also nice to have some variety in your work, because for me, like I like drawing certain types of noses. I won't draw the same nose on a black guy as I would do on a white guy or an Asian guy, because you know, you have, if you want to convey or you want to make people understand that you're drawing certain races, you have to keep in mind certain traits and certain facial features. And yeah, that's what I try to do the most. And now we're near the end of the drawing. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, just give it a thumbs up. It would actually help me out a lot. And yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.